crazy gibberish. And I would really appreciate your help with this so that I don't feel quite so goofy doing this. Now, in this story, there is a snow queen with a cold, cold heart. So when you hear me say, snow queen with a cold, cold heart, I want you all to give a shiver and say, "Brrr." Thank you. Now, the snow queen had 3 daughters. One daughter always had a cold in her nose, Patty. When you hear that, I want you all to give a big, juicy, perfect. The other daughter always had a cold in her chest. So when you hear daughter with a cold in her chest, just give a perfect. The third daughter was beautiful but sad. Of course, there has to be a young and handsome prince. Aha! And the stories have to have that villain, and that is a wily and wicked wizard. Perfect. I think you have it. Let's try it. Snow queen with a cold, cold heart. Daughter with a cold in her nose. Daughter with a cold in her chest. Daughter who's beautiful but sad. Young and handsome prince. And the wily and wicked wizard. Once upon a time, there was a snow queen with a cold, cold heart. She lived far to the north, where the sun never shone, the snow never melted, and the north wind was king. Now, she had 3 daughters. One daughter always had a cold in her nose. One daughter always had a cold in her chest. The third daughter was beautiful but sad. But these girls loved to play in the snow, and were they ever lucky, because where they lived it snowed every day. They'd go out and they'd make snow angels, or they'd have snowball fights, make snowball forts. Sometimes they'd just go out and they'd water their icicle garden. And that is exactly what they were doing when who should come riding up but a young and handsome prince. He saw those 3 girls and instantly fell in love. Oh, not with the one with the cold in her nose, not the one with the cold in her chest, but with the one who is beautiful but sad. He rode his horse right up to the castle, screeched to a halt, jumped off and ran inside right up to that snow queen with the cold, cold heart. I wish to marry your daughter. Not the one with the cold in her nose, not the one with the cold in her chest, but the one who is beautiful but sad. And the snow queen with the cold, cold heart said, you may, if she will have you, but only on one condition. In yonder enchanted forest, there lives a wily and wicked wizard. And it is he who has put our land under this enchantment so the sun never shines and the snow never melts, and I have one daughter who's always sniffling and one who's always hacking and one mopes about the castle all sad. But if you, she pulled out a potion in a little glass jar, if you dash this in his face, the spell will be broken, and then and only then can you marry my daughter, if she will have you. And the young and handsome prince said, I'll do it. He jumped on his horse and he rode away. He rode over hills and down hills. He rode through valleys until he came to yonder enchanted forest. Now the wily and wicked wizard had seen him coming, and he went into his dark hut, and he came out with his bag of evil, nasty tricks. He reached in and pulled out a lightning bolt, and he let loose, kazam! It hit that young and handsome prince, who fell right off his horse, but up he jumped. And he took that magic potion and dashed it in the face of the wily and wicked wizard, who instantly began changing, shifting, shrinking, changing, shrinking, shifting, until he changed into a marshmallow. Not a pretty sight, but that's what it was. The young and handsome prince picked up the wily and wicked marshmallow, put it in his pocket, got back on his horse, and rode back through the alleys, up the hills, down the hills, to the castle. In he went, right up to the Snow Queen with the cold, cold heart. I have done as you have asked. And he tossed the wily and wicked marshmallow onto her lap. And she said, I know, look, the sun is already shining, the snow is melting. My one daughter is no longer sniffling, the other's not hacking, and oh, my third daughter, she's still beautiful, but no longer sad. And she said she wanted to marry you. This feeling is so strange, it's heartwarming. Now, she put their hands together, her daughter and the young and handsome prince, and said, off you go, you two, and on the way out, could you tell my other girls to come in to Mama, and we'll have some hot cocoa. And if they're very, very good, I'll even put a marshmallow in it. And so, the young and handsome prince, and the daughter who was beautiful and no longer sad, were married and lived happily ever after.